Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on Connecting the Dots. We like to start every episode with an icebreaker. So we'd love to know what is something that you're reading, watching, or listening to?
So what what I'm reading, and I'm not actually reading, I'm just thinking of reading, is it's a little book about how to speed learn Indonesian.
Oh,
Because I have been here 2 years and it's getting really embarrassing that my communication is only, hi, how are you, good. That little book follows me from bedside to bedside and back to back, and I still haven't gotten past the first page.
If it makes you feel better, I'm the same way. I have a lot of books that I'm thinking about reading, but I have them on my bookshelf, so it's one step closer. So I understand.
Yeah, beautiful. I do love reading though. It's just been a bit busy.
Yeah,
get that.
All right. So can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your health journey and how that led you to where you are today?
So I'm here in Bali at the moment. My health journey, to be honest, I think my health journey started when I had my first child, and I had my first child quite early. I was 23, and then I turned 24 a couple of months later. But before I got pregnant, I was quite a party girl. and just lots of alcohol, bit of drugs, lots of partying. So that my health journey started when I became responsible for another being growing inside of me. And it's I feel like it's still going. I mean, we're changing and we're learning things, and I really like alternative medicine, and I think food is medicine and plants are medicine. So I've always approached it from the kind of making sure the diet is fine. So also Ayurveda, nutrition, all these things have been very, very fascinating for me. And, cooking with love and meals that, different members of your family benefit from. And then supplements, and I'm a little bit of a science geek as well. So hormonal health and chemistry and what actually goes on has been big for me. And then I just combine it all. I've gone a little bit into plant medicines, and that's been really lovely. And for me, I've kind of reached this conclusion that just everything is energy, everything is sacred. I have friends who are just breatharians, and I know that you can live just off life and prana. For me personally, I find so much enjoyment and pleasure in healthy habits and food and little things. So it's more of a balancing of what kind of works, what's the little things that daily work that actually make you feel good, rather than put more pressure on you. And sometimes people start to make healthy choices, but then it's a really big shift and change, and it can shock the system. So I'm all about kind of gentleness and baby steps, and making changes over a long period of time, doing like little things that will have a good impact in also 10 years. And then also listening to your body, tuning in, knowing what works. So that's kind of a bit of a summary, but there's a lot of practical steps there.
I love it. I feel like you just went through like all the themes of this season of Connecting the Dots, from Ayurveda to hormonal health to making small changes to the food is medicine piece. Like, I was just like, you are the perfect guest, because you are going to bring together the whole season.
Yep. Definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's alignment. It's resonance.
True.
It really is. So I'm curious, did you start to learn astrology also when you got pregnant with your first child, or when did you start getting into that side of things?
No, astrology has kind of been a passion of mine since I was a child. So astrology, I actively started learning when I was like 10 years old. And that was very much due to family circumstances, because I grew up in Estonia, in a culture and in a family where we didn't really speak feelings. So what was actually going on? There was very much this idea that keeping secrets kind of keeps children safe from the, you know, horrors and pain of the world. But then, you know, when you don't think of, and when you don't talk about things, they're kind of, there's this uncomfortable kind of vibe in the air, and you just don't understand what's going on. So that was happening in my family when I was a child, and I was like, all right, no one's talking to me. I'm gonna find something else. And I started looking into astrology, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And it just helped me to explain human psychology and why we are all so different, why we react in different ways, why we do things differently. I was always very sensitive, so I could really tune into the energies and the archetypes of the planetary movements. So like, you know, there's transits happening all the time and things are moving all the time. And for me, I knew it before I knew what was going on. So just, and at that time, there wasn't that much information about, you know, where Mercury is or where Venus is at this point in time. So I kind of went in from old school, and it just stayed in the background. I just used it as a language to understand the world, understand humans, have compassion, have appreciation for uniqueness. And then I found esoteric astrology not so long ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And that kind of opened it all up for me, because traditional astrology was a little bit limiting. It was, you know, if you're a Cancer, then, you know, this is the good stuff, this is the bad stuff, and you're stuck with it. So esoteric astrology really opened up the soul path and gave it a whole different mission. So that's when I was like, oh, I think I can actually, you know, talk about that and give sessions. And this actually gives hope and something more expansive and bigger. Because before that, it was just like, okay, this is the analysis. This is how it works. This is the sacred geometry that you come in. This is the kind of prison that you're in. So esoteric astrology kind of gave me the key to the prison.
So, okay, we were very curious. Like Melissa and I know, I wouldn't say that we're experts by any means, but we know about traditional astrology and we follow it, and we're into our sun, moon, and rising. And we, similar to, I feel like how you were at the beginning, like try and relate to each other and others and ourselves through understanding, okay, this is our sun, this is our moon, whatever. And it's so funny that you said that, because I'm a Cancer sun. And I'm like, yes, I'm very sensitive and I pick up on people's energies, but like, I'm not like very emotional. I'm not like some of the other traits. And so I always, my birthday is on the cusp of Leo. And so I always.
Oh, do you have the same day as me? Are you
July
22nd as
21st?
well?
I'm the 21st. Look at us, baby. And so I used to just lie and say I was a Leo because I love attention and whatever.
I didn't know you lied about that.
Oh, growing up,
so much sense.
Growing up, I literally told people I was a Leo because I said I found like one book that said I was a Leo. And so, but then when I learned about like my rising sign and my moon sign, then it all made more sense. Anyways, that was a long-winded way of saying.
What's your rising and your moon?
I'm a Libra rising and a Taurus moon.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Or do you have any Taurus? Because when you were saying like you wanted the soulful part and like feed your body right and take care of yourself, I feel like that's Taurus vibes.
Well, the thing is, we all have everything in us. That's the beauty of it. And the way I see it, where we have planetary placements in our birth chart, this is the areas that are for us to explore more. So the areas that are kind of empty are the ones that are kind of fine. They naturally happen anyways. And then where you have planets or asteroids, sorry, this is where you have more adventures ahead, where you have little lessons and extra energy to really dive in. So for me, I think Taurus is actually quite empty, and that makes it very natural. The Taurus energy for me is very natural. I don't have to put a lot of effort into it. I end up, living in beautiful places and being in beautiful company and having beautiful food and, people who give me hugs and touch me in a very simple way. And the creative aspect of Taurus is the artist of bringing things into manifestation quite easily. Having the sparks of idea and then actually going through the whole process and bringing things in. So that for me just flows around. It's not always in a way where I would expect. Usually it's better. Sometimes it's worse. But yeah, so that's that happens. So for you, if you would have moon there, that's really good. That's really grounding. That's if your Cancer sun is the being and the feminine aspect, which like the moon in Taurus would just ground it, so you don't feel necessarily emotionally volatile. So that's the beauty of it. And the Libra rising, that's just that's constant balancing. That's constant choosing the right relationship between people, right relationship within yourself, between your heart and the mind, right relationship between, let's say, health and pleasure, things like that. And there's no kind of one way. There's just whatever is right in the moment, that it's a body resonance. It's what's actually right for you. There's no analysis. It's just an experience. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting because now I want your opinion on mine, but
Sure.
I'm actually a Libra sun, so I very much resonate with the balance and the
that's why you can work together so well.
Literally.
It's funny because I feel like some of my best friends are Cancers, which is interesting, but I'm a Libra sun, Aquarius moon, and Sagittarius rising. So
spicy. Okay. So I think the the Cancer Libra connection is really beautiful. My best friend is a Libra as well, actually, from childhood still. And there is this this quality of pure love that is between the Cancer Libra dynamic on a really big generalization. I have Aquarius moon as well, like you, so that's that sometimes makes us a bit detached from feeling, but at the same time there is always this bigger picture thinking. So depending on your groundedness, it can either be just a really beautiful acceptance of everyone's uniqueness. And if you're, and me too, if we're not that grounded, it can end up being like a really, really open crown chakra and a tendency to spiritually bypass, like to just want to be over all the yucky stuff of the world and just kind of fly over and just, have fun, laugh, let's just all be friends and not address the things that actually need confrontation. So that's there. I love Aquarius moon. I think it's such a bigger picture thinking. It's bigger picture thinking, and it's the people who can always bring the light. So even in the most kind of situations, they just keep shining, because there's also this kind of like nonchalance about it all. There's a really deep appreciation, but there's also like, I'm just gonna do me, and I really hope you can do you as well. And the rising Sagittarius, that's really good. So mind you, I think mind you, I think all of the star signs are really good, but it's always good to find out what's the personal geometry. Because when I look at a chart, so the sun sign for me is like the feminine essence, the being essence, the kind of goddess passiveness, the magnetism, the creation of when you're just relaxed, and that's how you shine. And then the rising is like the masculine aspect, the doing, the creation. And how it works is the kind of the being aspect has to be there. That's your inner centeredness, that's your confidence, that's your brightness, that's your light. And then the right actions according to the sign that's in your rising are the things that arise from it. So, when you move around and you plan and organize, but it all flows naturally. So that's the ideal state. So when I look at a chart and I see the sacred geometry, it only shows the angles and everything in the traditional astrology. And then when I start tuning into the esoteric, so it's like your personal sacred geometry, the diamond that you are, is kind of shifting and changing because the planets change. So Sagittarius is like the ultimate philanthropist. It has always energy. It's so fun and joyous and expansive, and that's the Jupiter aspect. So it's just really kind of can-do attitude, can do with laughter attitude. It's really, really beautiful. And then when the Sagittarius, so when you as a human start connecting more with your soul, your higher mission, that you're more than just this body, however, whatever way it comes. Sometimes it's just diet changes and, changing into a healthier diet and raising your frequency and vibrancy with that. And then the same things happen. You don't need to be, excessively spiritual or hippie or whatever else esoteric. It's just lifting the frequency of your personal resonance, of your emotions, thoughts, etc. So when that happens, Sagittarius becomes a bit of a powerhouse because the esoteric ruler is Earth. So it's really, really good at bringing the manifestation in. So the Libra path, the being path, is always choosing the right relationship. So this is also the gift that you will bring to people around you. You can help people balance themselves, harmonize themselves, and choose what is right for them. Not making the choices for them, but just by being around you, as long as you're balanced and harmonized, that will kind of carry over. It's just an emanation. And then the Sagittarius just really grounds it into Earth in a really expansive way. So it's good. It's very good.
That is so cool.
Wow, I love this. It's funny you said even like people around me, because I was thinking back in college, I won best wing woman in my sorority because I would help all of my friends like get into relationships. I wasn't that great about it for me, but all
what
my
came
friends
to my mind is that's why you're so picky.
Well, yeah, that too.
It's gotta have standards.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, for maybe those who don't really know what esoteric means, could you explain like what the difference is between like traditional astrology and then how the esoteric astrology gets more expansive and like what it expands into?
Okay, so there's many astrology-based systems that people use to navigate traditional astrology and also the esoteric aspect of it. So a few other popular ones are also human design and gene keys. So traditional astrology is kind of the blueprint of how Earth works for you. What's your psychology? What is the events that you're likely to happen? In which area of your life do they happen? How you react to it? Where is your ambition? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What's your wounds? So it's very, if you know how to read it, it's actually quite informative. There's not much surprise. There's a bit of lenience in how the energy moves through you, because all the energy that comes through, it's actually neutral. It has a certain quality and way of being, but it's actually neutral. How it manifests for you is through your body channel. So like, for example, let's say Mars in Cancer, it is one energy, but for different people, it can manifest in totally different ways. It can manifest as in a shadow side, like being totally bogged down in ambition, like being not ambitious at all, or being like very, very suppressed, for example, as the shadow. Or it can manifest as being a really, really good chef, or it can manifest as being really ambitious towards oneness consciousness. So there's many ways of how it can actually play out. So traditional astrology just gives the good and the bad, you know, the list of what is here for you to experience. It gives like a shortcut to self-awareness, you know, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses on a cosmic, energetic, and also bodily level. Like another really interesting area is astrology of the body parts, knowing what rules what. So Libra, for example, is I think kidneys and managing fear. You know, managing fear, making changes, and then taking care of your nervous system response, like constantly expanding. So the Sagittarius part would be constantly wanting to expand, and then the Libra part would like fire up the kidneys, and you would feel this nervous system response of getting really, really anxious and scared of the unknowns, constantly like breathing, grounding, touching, you know, your own skin, soothing yourself so that you can keep up with the expansive energy, for example. For Cancer, usually it's stomach issues. So stomach digestion is the main thing. And that is because Cancer tends to be so welcoming and warm and embracing that it just walks into a room and it absorbs everyone's shit. And then the actual body of the human, we're not meant to digest each other's stuff. We're meant to hold our own integrity and light, and in that light, motivate and inspire others to walk their path. But the Cancer, it kind of just comes and it's like a mother. It wants to just give you a hug and take everything away, and it happens totally unconsciously. So especially for strong Cancers, it's really important to have really good energetic boundaries and a good system to release everything that's happened within a day, because otherwise, you know, you get IBS and all kind of digestive problems, ulcers, etc. So that's just the kind of nitty-gritty of it, the practical side of it. And then esoteric astrology kind of puts you on a soul mission. So the planets change, the missions change. When I do readings, and I talk about and I channel most of my readings, so I don't usually remember what happens. I just tap into a field and channel it through. When I connect to that field of the soul and I talk about it, people usually cry, because it speaks a really, really deep resonance and truth that why they're here, what they're doing, and then how they're doing this soul mission is this whole game and play of finding out what life is. Really long answer. I don't know if it made any clearer.
It's so helpful, because we were so curious. And I think it's cool how you can use traditional and esoteric, and then all of the other specialties that you have, from alternative medicines to meditation, to, I think that when you were saying like channeling, like that's like psychic energeticness. So would love to know, like, how, so when you're like working with a client, you have a session with a client, I want to be one now. How do you combine all of these aspects and elements?
It just happens. I just make and I've made this prayer for myself a long time ago, actually. I just allow grace to flow through, and I surrender, and the information comes. So I just fully trust that whatever comes through. Of course, it absolutely helps that I have walked my own path and I have my own experiences. But to be honest, I never know what happens in a session. I just I just set a space psychically and spiritually that aligns with values that are important to me. So grace, unconditional love, acceptance. When I'm in the space, I start seeing all kind of beings. I see the grids. I see the kind of energetic, timeless space. So I can go into the space where I see the soul through all the lifetimes. Sometimes past life stuff comes up. Sometimes it's very, very anchored in the present. Sometimes it's all about health. It's I never know. I just go in fully like I don't know. And as soon as I never look at the chart much before I actually have the session, because it's like a portal for me.
Okay.
So when I look at the chart, it's like the kind of portal that I walk through with the client, and it just feels like a huge energy download. So I did a while ago, maybe like a year ago, I did a session for someone who is really, really psychic and a beautiful leader, and does a lot of star seed activation, and that that's a specialization as well. And so she could see everything that I was getting in there, and she was just sitting there like in total awe and overwhelm, and she was like, oh my god, I can see where all your information is coming from. It's like a dance, and there's so much, and I just can't believe how you can put this into words. So I was like, oh my god, I feel so seen. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what's happening. So it's like juggling with like 100 balls and trying to make it really simple and understandable with the human language. And often the real lessons, it comes like an energy transmission. So in my sessions, I usually do a guided meditation first for the soul embodiment, just to clear out the body, clear out the energy, allow the soul embodiment to come in, allow the person to actually get in touch with this part of themselves, and then it kind of starts, a process. So often I don't actually know how to explain it. It's just observing a really, really magnificent show and then trying to put it into human words.
That is so cool. That is so
interesting. Yeah, and I think like the way you were explaining things earlier, like with the whole astrology of the body, I never knew different body parts had different signs, and I think you explained that so well, how certain organs, and then the way like certain signs like act, and then the organs and the body like reacts to it. I think that's a very good way to combine like the science and the spiritual aspects of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's strengths and weaknesses as well, knowing where, if you let yourself go, which are the first parts of the kind of vehicle that's going to start falling apart.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm so curious, Melissa and I, before chatting with you, we were thinking about, you've mentioned your soul journey and esoteric astrology, tapping into souls. And so we were so curious, like, what are your thoughts on soulmates? And one of the reasons I ask is because my parents have seen a few mediums that have told them that they're soulmates and have told them like their past lives that they've lived together. So cool. I believe in them, but I'm so curious, like your opinion and all of that.
Okay. So I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe in past lives and future lives, because I have had very visceral experiences where I can tap into them. I don't think my imagination is that good to give me that level of experience. Or if it is, then that's amazing. I should write a book. So I personally don't think that there is just one soulmate or one twin flame, because to be where we are right now in this body, in this existence, in this quite privileged state of wealth and health and well-being, our soul probably has gone through many lifetimes where it's gone through, poverty and all kind of torture and done all kind of horrible things. that's just all part of it. So the privilege of living life as a gift as it is right now in this beautiful body, serving from a purpose, it comes at a price. And it's an evolution. So I do think that there is a recognition between people who have been around each other, and to be honest, I think that we kind of resonate with a certain group of, you know, a couple of hundred people anyways. Like we actually have a energetic village and tribe there, and it's a, like, you can feel it in your gut. You can feel it in your gut when someone just aligns. And yeah, and in love relationships, sometimes the people who come to us as partners and lovers, and that is just my personal experience, sometimes they come with, you know, karmic lessons. So it's very much a individual choice whether you want to go through these lessons or not, because sometimes the people that we're very, very attracted to, we've had a lifetime with that wasn't that great. Maybe we killed each other, maybe we did some other not so nice things to each other, and then this chemical, physical attraction that happens in this lifetime, ultimately everything is love. Ultimately everything is wanting to be more love. So that's what it can bring up. But if there is also a bit of past crumble, it can turn a little bit toxic. So it's usually a good idea to just clean these things out. Love-wise, I mean, there's also beautiful relationships that just go from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. I've had a few couples who have experienced this, and for myself, I feel like my soul with my daughter has this quality where there's a really deep loving connection. It's not necessarily it has been one lifetime at least where it's been like a romantic relationship, but there's been like I have tapped into at least 5 lifetimes where we have been family before, but she's always been the authority figure, and I've been like the younger sister or the child or the one time a wife. So when this child came in, and as soon as she started talking, she started putting her authority first and bossing me around. I was like, whoa, this lifetime you're the child, who's the mother? Like, this is what I'd have to say all the time, like, who's the mother this lifetime? Okay,
Sounds like
yeah,
karma
so
to
I'm
me.
responsible for you. But
Okay.
there's like a very, very strong authoritative energy there already, and it's so much fun to find these things out. So yeah, I do believe in soul connections. Soulmates are twin flames. I think it creates more drama than love, believing in it and working on it. But you know, whatever works. If that works for you and that keeps your relationship strong and that gives it a bigger purpose, then go for it. Enjoy every moment.
I think the soul connection piece is definitely more what I align with. One of my friends is going through a very hard time and is probably not going to make it. And I think that like our souls are connected somehow. And I feel that way with some of my other friends. And it's just this like deep like kind of what you're saying, like this deep understanding where I just don't feel the need to say a million and jillion things to her as she's like, going to the next life, because I feel like we're just connected and we know, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And the love connection stays. So I don't specialize in being a medium, but I can also tap into people who have passed, and I have had people in my family who have passed away come and give a download, and it's it's an incredible experience. It just it's not something I've asked for or want to, speak to dead people, but and every time it happens, it's like it's so much love that it's kind of overwhelming for the physical body. So I just cry and shake and feel like totally overwhelmed. So that level of love is always around us and there, and we have our ancestors and our angels and our guides all around us all the time. It's just about the main thing for us to relax, like relaxing our body, relaxing our mind, relaxing our breath, so that we can absorb and allow this level of love in. So it's always around. We're always loved. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And so I'm curious, for people, like for listeners who don't fully understand what twin flames and soulmates are, I know that there's some connotation where twin flames are a little bit more of the toxic side. I don't want to use that word, but soulmates are that soul connection, and there could be multiple. But how would someone, I guess, recognize if they're not as in tune, I think, with themselves, but recognize if it's that soul connection or that like a little bit more toxic side? Or
I think that the twin flame soulmate thing, it comes with a level of intensity that comes as a surprise. If you're generally quite a grounded and well-balanced individual, and you come from a healthy family, there is no relationship dramas and traumas there, and then you end up in a relationship that's just so incredibly intense and totally blows you away, then there is probably some energetic contracts there. The toxicity, we do have the potential to have a really beautiful, heavenly, divinely, lovely connection with everyone. And we also have the potential to have an absolute toxic mess with everyone. What matters is to just really be authentic, be truthful, hold down your values every moment when you're walking this relationship. And I mean, it's normal to want to please and to want to compromise and do all these things in a relationship, which over a long period of time can just give you away more and more and more. So there's nothing of you left anymore. So for me, the power and the centeredness is really, really important, because if you give away everything that is you just to make someone else happy or calm or whatever way it goes in a toxic relationship, usually there is one that wants a lot and then the other one who's just constantly giving, and it's like a little bit parasitic sometimes. Or they both can be parasitic and in different ways. It's just a really low frequency. So this dynamic wants to be turned into love. Often what is needed is a third party to just keep it together, because when you're in a relationship yourself and it's very, very intense, you just you're so entangled. It's not love, it's just a mess. So I'd say when that happens, it's probably one of those twin flame things. And when I look at people who are my friends, there's some, like my hairdresser in Australia, she's like over 60 and she's been doing this twin flame together apart thing like almost all her life. So it's about how much excitement, I guess, you want in your life, and how willing you are to learn your lessons. Because as soon as you learn a lesson, it doesn't impact you anymore. So these twin flame things, they're huge learning grounds. But I think the learning is always to, love yourself first. Love yourself first. Because otherwise, what are you magnetizing? What are you attracting with? There's nothing to fall in love with.
Wow, that was
so intensity. The short answer is, if it feels very, very intense, yeah.
that was a really beautiful explanation. And I think the theme that I took away from that was just authenticity. Like you were saying, come back to yourself, be authentic to who you are and to what your values are. And I think in those
very much.
situations, people can lose sight of that. And it does make sense
Very
how
much.
they teach you that lesson and teach you what you want and who you are and who you should be when you're with someone else.
Very much. And they take a bit of time to recover from as well, especially if you're going down a toxic path, then it's really important to, you know, get help and be with yourself and just really cycle all that through and out of your system.
That's so fascinating. I actually had a psychic tell me that my boyfriend and I were twin flames. So intrigued by your explanation, because sometimes it can feel that way. No, just kidding. We love him. But this is such quality information. I think as Melissa and I are both on our own healing journeys as well, and we've, you know, started to see how astrology can potentially play a part. And we're so fascinated when you brought up like human design, like we both looked up our human designs and our birth chart and all that stuff. So I was just curious for the listener. I know you were started to talk about how, you know, the Cancer connection is the stomach. Makes sense. I have leaky gut. And you know, all these different things. So how do you use astrology for healing, and how can people start to tap into that as well?
Well, that's very individual. That really goes on a, you know, person to person basis. And if someone is coming to me already with a health issue, then it's, for me, it's a manifestation that something is like, there's something wrong with the energy there. Something is not quite working. Very, very individual. And that's why I don't really do one-off readings anymore. I work 6 to 12 sessions to just guide and walk someone through. And generally why I do the minimum 6 is because usually in the first 5 sessions, all the yucky stuff comes up, all the traumas, all the resistances. And then after 6, it starts actually being expansive and beautiful. So I'm very, very practical. A lot of stuff can just be sorted out with relaxing the body and mind. So diet, meditation, actually knowing what is good for you to eat and what is not good for you to eat. That's where I bring in the Ayurveda. I also go in with intuitive eating. Having a routine that actually supports you. Not everyone benefits from a you know, high activity, cardio, intense workout kind of thing. So and some people do, and then they have to do that for them. You know, yin yoga and sitting doing nothing for 2 hours is torture, and it's not beneficial. So it's very, very individual. Also taking this mindfulness, consciousness, awareness into embodiment, so that you can actually start feeling through your body what it feels like to be expansive and in the flow. During my sessions, I also I go work in the subconscious, because so much of our life is ruled by subconscious minds. So when we start shining light there, all these little things that are like blind spots and we don't understand why this is happening become understandable, and they become gifts. So very, very individual. Very, very individual. Like, for example, my newest client is a doctor. He's retired now. He's worked in integrated wellness all his life in France, and he's got gut issues as well, so digestive issues. Very, very smart, very highly intellectual, like treated, I don't know, thousands of people over his lifetime. And what I do as a test when I take someone on is I use the eye conscious test, which which is a awakening acceleration system. And it gives me like a starting point of where they are with their soul embodiment, where they are in their consciousness, awareness, where they are in their body, mind, and emotions. And it just straight away gives an imprint of what's your starting point. So, for example, with this man, he just did the test yesterday, and his mind highly intelligent, but what needs actually working on is emotions. So a lot of integration between these 5 paradigms comes with, you know, just accepting that you have emotions, noticing them, feeling them, being with them. And he's because he's a health doctor, his body is like, you know, serves every day, he eats healthy food, like all of that is good. Just the gut is not working because of this lack of emotional acceptance, accepting yourself as an emotional being. And his human design, for example, is a manifesting generator. So if you know what that means, it means that you're constantly juggling 10 different things at the time and running around like crazy, and you need to have all these different things happening because that's how you function. And if you're if you're splenic emotional, then you're just you have very intense emotions, and you're riding the waves of emotions strongly, and it takes you a while to process that. So just like, for example, with him, our work will be mostly about allowing him the space to be with his emotions safely, so he's not scared of it. So that kind of stuff.
That's so cool. It's cool that you're combining all of that.
Yeah. Wow.
And you know, whatever else comes up, usually stuff comes up from the subconscious. Always. Yeah. We never know what it is.
That's so interesting. I resonated a lot with that story, honestly. I'm also a manifesting generator, so the emotional part has always been my struggle. Yeah, when I was really young, in 3rd grade, I had stomach issues, and I got all these tests done. They're like, she's just stressed, she's just worried. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, that's where my stress stomach aches happened. And then lo and behold, but that's very interesting how you do that analysis to see all those 5 different areas.
Well, it's just about practice of allowing yourself to be. You know, when you feel an emotion, it's not it becomes a stressor, and the tension in the stomach or anywhere in the body, often also shoulders, hamstrings, toes. It can, the resistance, what creates the problem. So feeling that you're not allowed to be as you are, feeling that it's not socially acceptable. Maybe when you were a child, you were told, you know, not to scream or not to cry or not to be too loud or not to do this, that, and the other, because that's, you know, disruptive for the environment. So it's about finding healthy outlets. If you're, you know, feeling a very strong, intense feeling, knowing how to handle it in a transformative way. So you don't have to go and attack someone on the street or, you know, be mean to your family, but you can, for example, move your body, go and dance it out, or, you know, go for a swim and scream in the water like an old school way, or, you know, whatever it is. And same with sadness. Like I think what I've observed with the manifesting generators in my life, they're so scared of the sadness because it goes so deep that they're scared that they will fall into a deep depression and they don't come out. So it's really beneficial to know that this too shall pass. Like life is impermanent. This too shall pass. Just, you know, feel what needs to be felt, go through it, and then the more you allow the feeling, so the intensity is just to like stretch your experience of emotion in the human body. And then once you have felt it, you know that you can master it. It's like the waves don't get you that much anymore. It's just whenever you're ready to expand, another wave comes and makes you a bit more, you know, explosive.
I love it. So I know we need to start to wrap up, but I was curious. So people come to you, they find out all these things from their manifesting generator to their birth, their signs, and how that plays in their soul's journey, all these different facets. How can they use astrology and all this information to, lead to a better life or kind of find their path?
Well, I'm a big advocate on just self-discovery and contemplation as well. So if you feel like you want to, work, you're ready, then you get a coach. Then you get someone like me who just holds the space, and your steps, your movements are fast. You're in a safe, held space, and you make changes fast. If you want to explore, just start somewhere, start anywhere, and trust your own journey. Trust that the information that is meant for you will come. It's just about making the decision. It's about saying like, okay, I want to know more about this, or I want to, change this bad habit, or let go of this thing, and then just receive, sit back and receive. Like we are not in a lack of information society. There is probably too much information. So I think the skill is to relax, always relax. Relaxing is the answer for everything for me. Just relax. Relax and ground. It'll be all right. But yeah, of course, I mean, if you're already having all kind of symptoms like health issues, then you got to be a bit more proactive and try to relax enough to feel the resonance of whether this practitioner or doctor or psychologist or nutritionist or whatever is right for you, because your soul knows. And sometimes when we are in a lot of pain, it's really hard to sit still and relax, because you're desperate, you're wanting a solution. So from that kind of neediness place, sometimes we make decisions that are not actually good for our health, and then we have a lesson. Okay, this one was really this one was not a good advice. This was not a good experience. And I found if you kind of listen to your body, it doesn't really let you go to these practitioners who are not good for you. It's like your car breaks down, or your like something happens, or you get a fever and you can't go see this person. It's like there is bigger, more loving forces that do take care of us. So just trust that if you have an issue, you have it because it is for you to figure out. It's manageable for you. It's your task to accomplish, but from a space of love and compassion rather than fear. Always love over fear.
I love that you said that, because I always feel like whenever I need to learn a lesson, the universe like really hits you, that whether it's a car accident or it's an injury, and I'm like, okay, the universe is really pushing me in this direction and I haven't been listening. So I'm getting this extreme sign now that I need to slow down and really like just take more self-care and like be with my body and just be really. So I think that's a great explanation. So I know we're getting close to time, but we have a few last questions, rapid fire questions we wanted to ask you.
Sure.
So what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting their health journey today?
Really practice self-compassion, because healing can only happen in a space of love. So yeah, that's it. And I think that's the hardest bit, to be honest, to not criticize or punish or judge yourself for whatever is going on, but just to take responsibility and compassion, like nurture yourself like you would a child, unconditional.
I think that's so helpful. For me, one of my like first health issues was acne, and because it's not the most attractive thing, my, self-confidence and my self-compassion was just so low. And that it took so much time to start to heal and do that, because it was so mental first. So definitely resonate with that. Our second question is, what do you think the future of health looks like?
That's a good question. I think, and that is, I mean, I'm sitting here in nature, so I think it will come back more to nature. Yeah, just more simple.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, just, more nature, more simple. And then at the same time, I think scientifically, there will be a lot of very, very cool discoveries. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so since this is Connecting the Dots, can you tell our listeners where they can find you, whether it's on social media, and how they can maybe come see you as a coach and get some of these services you spoke about today?
Sure. So I am based in Bali at the moment. I am going to Europe in mid-July, so in a couple of weeks already for a little bit. I'm not planning to work there though. I'm planning to just see family. And then I will be back in Bali probably from August, September onwards. So I do work online. To be honest, I'm only active on Instagram. I don't really do marketing or Facebook or Twitter or any of that. So I do have a website, www.astrologyofwellbeing.com, and I do have my Instagram, which is Astrology of Wellbeing. So those are kind of the two channels where you can find me, and then book a session, and then we'll take it into a one-on-one kind of space. If you are in Bali, I do also do in face-to-face, consultations, and sometimes if I feel like it, group work and beautiful fun things. But yeah, my work is mostly online, and Instagram is a great way to connect.
That's how I found you. So
yeah, there's so many beautiful people. I was scared of Instagram for a long time, and once I actually made the leap into that world, I was like, no, it's just another place where I can bring my light and have discernment with who and what I want to engage with, and it's been such a beautiful journey with it. And thank you. I'm so glad we connected there.
Me too. Yeah, this conversation was amazing. And as I said earlier, I think it really does bring in so many themes that we've been talking about, but also something that Melissa and I both wanted to find a way to bring into the show was spirit, like more spiritual, more soul, more connection.
Yay.
And I think that you have been the perfect person to do that for us.
Oh, I'm so glad. We're all sacred. We really are.
Yes, this was a much needed conversation today also. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Of course. And we'll make sure that we send our followers to your website and to your amazing Instagram.
Thank you.